In this section, we're discussing proportional and non-proportional relationships. Proportional and non-proportional relationships are both linear. The difference is that proportional relationships go through the origin and proportional don't. Proportional relationships show direct variation in the form y equals kx or y equals mx. I'm going to show you in the table below what I mean. To write a proportional and non-proportional relationship in function notation, just write the equation in slope-intercept form, but replace the y with f of x. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about in this slide. With proportional, you see that you're adding the same thing each time. So I'm adding 1 on top, I'm adding 3 on bottom. However, and on the same thing in this one, in non-proportional, you're adding 1 each time, you're adding 3 on bottom. So what's the difference? The difference is that if I put y over x or x over y, I would get the same fraction each time. So 1 over 3 is equal to 2 over 6, because 2 over 6 is 1/3. 3 over 9 is 1/3. 4 over 12 is 1/3. So it's all the same fraction. Versus in a non-proportional, 1 over 8 does not equal 2 over 11, and that doesn't equal 3 over 14. So that's what you need to see with that. When they ask you to write an equation in function notation, you're just going to write it in slope-intercept, y equals mx plus b, but instead of the y, you're going to change the y to function notation, which is f of x. It's the function of x. But you write it the same way, mx plus b. So in this case, we need to know our y-intercept. And right here, you can see it looks like our y-intercept is at -1. But if you look at what I'm counting by 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So actually that y-intercept is at a -2. So if I'm counting by 2's, look at your slope. You're going from where y equals 1 to where y equals 4. So what is your slope? Your slope is, you're going up 3, and you're going over how many? So you're going up 3 over 1. So the final answer in this problem is f of x equals 3x minus 2. So let's just make sure, okay? So we're going at -2, and I'm going up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1. Yes. Number 2 says determine the related functions, and then determine if the function is proportional or non-proportional. So remember, if it's going to be proportional, it needs to be in the form y equals kx or y equals mx. There is no y-intercept, or my y-intercept is 0. All right, so I'm going to use this tactic. I'm going to say an equals a1 plus n minus 1 times d. The reason that I'm doing that is because I know it's arithmetic because I'm adding 3 each time. Okay, so my first term in the sequence is 0. And I already said my common difference is 3 because I'm adding 3 each number. All right, so I've got an equals 0 plus distribute that 3, so 3n minus 3. Combine like terms, 3n, and 0 minus 3 is -3. So is that, well, that would be my related function. Okay, so since we want it in function notation, I'm going to change my an to f of x. And I'm going to change the n to an x because I want this variable to match this variable. Okay, so this is function notation. So that's the function that they wanted me to determine. Then is it proportional or non-proportional? It is non-proportional because I'm just going to explain to you why instead of writing it. Because I have this -3, which means that it doesn't go through the origin. If I was graphing it, it would be like that. So it's not going through the origin. That's why. Number 3 says determine the related function of the table. So there's several ways I can do this. I'm going to show you one. Just know that there are several ways that you can do this. Okay, so I'm going to start out by saying, what is my slope? I'm going to use this as x1, x2, and I'm going to use this as y1 and y2. Okay, so my slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I get -4 minus a -7 over -1 minus a -2. So that would give me a +3 over a +1. So I know my slope is 3. Okay. Now, what would be my y-intercept? Well, my y-intercept is the point that x equals 0. So my y-intercept is -1. It's right there where my x equals 0. Now, if it didn't give you x equals 0 somewhere, you could plug it into the slope-intercept formula to find your slope-intercept. Because you have your slope and you have a bunch of points. So you could do this way. Oh, watch, I'll show you. You can go, if you didn't have that given, you could just pick a point. I'm just going to pick this one because it doesn't matter. So 5 equals, we know that our slope is 3 times 2 plus b. So 5 equals 6 plus b, subtract that 6. And now we get b equals -1. So see, that's a way that you could do it if it didn't just give it to you right there. So I know in y equals mx plus b, I would go y equals 3x minus 1, but they want me to write it in function notation, so I'm just going to change my y for f of x. And there it is. Now, if it asked me if it was proportional or not, I would say no because of that -1.